Tom Thibodeau is one of the best coaches in the NBA at Coaches Challenges. I went through and broke down every single challenge that Tom Thibodeau has done in the NBA this season. And we are going to see how successful he is at this. So there are 3 different types of categories that can be challenged. That is a challenge of a foul called offensive, defensive, that kind of stuff. Challenge of an out of bounds off the other team, or a goaltending call. If we look here, and this is just the first half, I have another picture showing the other half of his challenges. This is the second half, and as you can see here, there is only 1 white box. If you go over here, we're looking at the first column, there are 3 other white boxes. And basically, I indicated that the white boxes are the challenges that he lost. So as you can see, when he challenged a foul, he only got it incorrect 4 times. We go to the out of bounds play, he was only wrong 1 time. And as for goaltending, he was correct 100% of those calls. So all of these calls total to 26 challenges this season. By the way, this data is as of January 19th or January 20th. So there were a couple of games since then, but obviously we don't have the data for that yet. But as of January 19th, Tom Thibodeau has won 21 out of his 26 challenges, making him have an 84% success rate. Now, this is the league average for every call in the NBA that has been challenged. Overall, challenges have been overturned about 60% of the time, as you can see, 59.9%, which means Tom Thibodeau's number of 84% is well above league average. As you could see again, as of January 19th, there have been 865 total challenges made and is broken down by a called foul, an out of bounds play, or goaltending. And as you can see, most of the challenges come from a called foul. About 570 of them and 293 of them were successful, giving it a 51.4% success rate. The out of bounds challenges are actually the most successful for coaches because 76.6% of them are successful. And then goaltending is the least challenge call. There was only 22 of them so far, and 72.7% of them were successful. Now let's go back to Tom Thibodeau's challenges and let's break them down. Out of the challenges of a foul that Tom Thibodeau challenged, 13 of them were on a defensive foul, which basically indicates to us that when his team is on defense is when he's doing most of his challenges. Because an offensive foul, which there are a couple of them here, would mean that his team, let's just say Karl-Anthony Towns went to the basket and ran over somebody, which would cause an offensive foul. So basically, we can determine that Tibbs does a lot of his challenges when his team is on defense, which does make sense because Tibbs is known as a defensive coach. So it makes sense that he would be challenging calls on the defensive end because he probably sees it and he's like, wait a minute, that is not correct. Out of the defensive fouls here, 3 of them were actually changed to another defender. So what that means is the challenge was successful in that, let's just say Josh Hart was called for a foul. It ended up not being a foul on Josh Hart, but it was actually on Jalen Brunson. While that is a successful challenge, it was still a defensive foul. It just wasn't on that player. And so 3 of those are what Tom Thibodeau challenged this season and got correct. 8 of his challenges came from an out-of-bounds play. And only 3 out of the 8 calls, the Knicks were the home team. So that indicates to us that Tibbs is challenging an out-of-bounds call more of the time when they are the away team, because 5 of them were challenged when the Knicks were not at home. And he actually won every single challenge on the road, because the one unsuccessful challenge was when the away team was rewarded the ball when the Knicks were at home, but actually the away team got to keep the ball. So he was only unsuccessful 1 time at home, but on the road, he has a perfect record. And now if we go to goaltending, like I said, there's not that many of them in the NBA in general, so he has only done 2 of them this season, and he has been successful on both of them. If we go back here for a second, I want to break down the data based on quarters. As you could see, and you could probably guess, the quarter that has the least amount of challenges is the first quarter. So why would that be? Well, it's the beginning of the game, so coaches don't typically want to use their challenge in the first quarter, because if you get it wrong, you lose it and you may need it at the end of the game when it's a 1-possession game. But some coaches opt to use it. I think I saw a statistic somewhere that Erik Spoelstra uses it more often in the first quarter than anybody else. I don't know if that's accurate, but I saw something like that. That makes sense because Erik Spoelstra is the type of coach where he's going to challenge a call if it's wrong. If he thinks it's wrong, he's going to challenge. So he's a great coach. It just seems like something he would do. But as we could see, in the fourth quarter, 337 challenges have been made, again, as of January 19th. And that is the most out of any quarter here. But you want to know something interesting? Obviously, with more calls, there is a more likely chance that there is a wrong call, right? So do take this with a grain of salt. But if you look, in fourth quarter challenges, overall the success rate is only 51%, whereas the first quarter, the second quarter, and the third quarter are all over 60%. The third quarter actually has the best success rate at 67.1%. And while coaches are still going to opt to keep their challenge for the last quarter because, again, of late game situations, they may want to consider using their challenges earlier in the game sometimes. Why? Because I feel like at the end of the game, obviously if a call is wrong, the refs are going to overturn it. Like if the ball clearly went off the opposite team, they're going to change the call, right? But if it's a 50-50, like they really can't determine, sometimes it goes to like a jump ball, right? But they may say there's no clear and conclusive evidence, as they like to say, to overturn the call because it's the fourth quarter. There's 1 minute left in the game. It's a one possession game. And the refs don't want to be blamed for losing the game for whatever team it is, right? Because how many times do we hear that argument? Like the ref overturned the call and there was only 30 seconds left. And that gave, let's just say OKC, they're the first team that popped in my head. That gave OKC the ball. And because of that, the Knicks never got the ball back, since we were talking about the Knicks before, right? And then they get blamed like they decided the outcome of the game because they made a call. They changed the call. They did something, right? So again, while a call, if it is clearly incorrect, they're going to change it. But there is a chance, because this is human error here, that you may be dealing with a chance of getting the call less likely to be overturned because of the late game situation. And while that is not a reason to not challenge a call if you think it's wrong, I'm just saying like you have to think about it that way as well. And again, you do get 2 challenges if you get it correct. So maybe if you challenge once in the third quarter rather, and I'm sure some coaches do that as well, like a third quarter and then a fourth quarter challenge, but maybe it ends up being more beneficial in your favor.